The M2 era of Apple products are just kind of weird. The overall CPU and GPU score got a bit higher, and some of the products, just like this MacBook Air M2, has some design improvements. However, the price of M2 iPad Pro and this MacBook Air got a little bit too expensive for same quality of day-to-day usage compared to the M1 iPad Pro and the M1 MacBook Air. Anyways, I've been using this M2 Air base model for around 4 to 5 months now, and for my day-to-day usage, I love this laptop very much, but I don't know who I should recommend this laptop to. So let me explain why, and let's get right into it. Don't get me wrong, I am totally fine with the base model for my everyday tasks. However, if you want to open multiple Chrome tabs or a bunch of apps at once, the 8GB of RAM might struggle a bit. And if you want to transfer large files back to back, the single core SSD on this 256GB model is literally 50% slower than the other higher storage models. So if your job or hobby requires a lot of large data transfer, you might want to get other storage option, the higher storage option and bigger RAM size, because if you do a lot of video work or photo work or open a bunch of apps or Chrome tabs, you need larger RAM, and that will be another extra cost. When I purchased this laptop, I got the base model on purpose because speccing out this M2 Air didn't make any sense for me. For example, if you upgrade the RAM to 16GB and get the 10-core GPU model, you can get the same spec on the 13-inch MacBook Pro with added pro features such as fan. And if you're doing a bunch of creative work such as videos and Photoshop and Lightroom and stuff, you definitely need to cool your M2 down. I know this from my experience, but I do own the M1 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro, and when I'm heavily into editing, the fans started kicking in, and that's the M1 Max model. So you definitely need some cooling system on your M2 if you're doing creative work. And please don't even think about purchasing the spec'd out M2 Air, because you will much better off purchasing the 14-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro, which will have better performance, better screen, come on, 120 Hz, better brightness as well, and way more ports. And I think you will thank me later if you purchase that more than the M2 Air spec'd out version. But no matter how much I talk shit about this base model, don't really get me wrong. This base model can handle majority of base level creative stuff, such as Photoshop editing, Lightroom editing, and even editing videos on Final Cut Pro. I was able to edit my short form vertical videos such as YouTube Shorts and IG Reels comfortably on this device for straight hours. And yes, the laptop got a bit warm, but it didn't show any type of performance struggles. Pretty good. And I think a lot of people just need to chill the fuck out about the M2 Air base model, since I saw a lot of tech YouTubers just rendering 4K RAW clips at the same time in Final Cut Pro, or just exporting like hour-long video on Premiere and just talking shit about this base model. No shit, bro. This laptop is made for average people doing average PC stuff, such as Word, PowerPoint, Google Slides, whatever, or Figma or Webflow. The M2 Air or MacBook Air in general doesn't have to do these crazy stuff on it, because these laptops are not made for doing crazy creative stuff or even gaming. This laptop, especially the base model, is made for people who does normal laptop stuff on a day-to-day basis. And let me talk about my experience doing my normal day-to-day stuff on this laptop. And spoiler alert, it's pretty awesome. The majority of the stuff I do on this laptop is pretty non-CPU demanding. I use Chrome, Notion, and Todoist. And since I'm a type of person who doesn't open multiple apps at the same time or run multiple Chrome tabs at the same time and run it at the same time, I can use this laptop pretty comfortably and it doesn't get hot at all, which is nice because I use this laptop on my lap, hence the device's name is laptop, and I use it throughout the day and it doesn't bother me at all. And unlike the iPad Pros or iPad OS in general, I am very confident when I'm doing creative work on macOS, because even at the light work or base model, I can still able to use professional level application on macOS rather than iPad OS. So when I have an urgent creative task, if I have this laptop with me all the time, which is totally doable because it's pretty light, I can just quickly open this laptop, plug my external SSD, and just do the work. And it saved me so many times, and I'm very happy about that. The keyboard is fantastic to type. It's a full-size keyboard with all the keys at the top got larger compared to the M1 model, and it's nice to use it. Even though the speakers are hidden between the display and the keyboard, the sound is loud and clear as the previous M1 model, and from a design perspective, it does look really good. I absolutely love the the new design slash form factor of this device. It's squared off, slim, and only 11mm thick, which makes it nice and compact for everyday usage. Also, having the MagSafe back on the current MacBook Airs makes so much more sense because now you can use 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on the side while you're charging, which you couldn't do on the previous M1 Air. So I am very happy that we have MagSafe back on not only the Pros, but the Air as well. The screen is fantastic for the price, not only for just day-to-day usage, but also consuming media as well. However, the notch did bother me when I first purchased it, but after a couple days I got used to it, and now I do feel nicer to have the current screen because it does give us more screen real estate and it looks a bit cleaner. But we all know that it's still weird that we don't have Face ID on this notch. I mean, why would you make a notch if you're not gonna put any Face ID in it? I just love every aspect of the design, compactness, and the thinness of the M2 Air. And yet this laptop can do majority of the basic stuff that I needed when I'm traveling or when I'm working off my office. For example, I took this laptop with me to Australia last week, and it was able to handle all my emails, scripting stuff on Notion, watching movies, and edit all my photos that I took in Australia with ease, which is so cool. FYI, I loved Australia so much. I might visit again soon, but next time I'll try to visit when it's less hotter because it was crazy hot. The battery life on this laptop is just fantastic. It's not better than the M1 Air, which is a great thing because if I didn't use any power hungry applications such as Adobe stuff or Final Cut Pro and stuff, I can use this laptop for a full day without any charging, and I'm still able to use it around 1 to 2 hours the next day as well, which is just so crazy to me. And I love the battery life of this laptop, and you guys will not have any issues as well. And also, even if you're running low on the battery, you can charge up to 0 to 50% in 30 minutes. So overall, the battery life stuff, you be chilling. You don't have to think about it anything. The final conclusion for this MacBook Air M2 is really hard because it's just not worth it. If you simply want a reliable laptop that can do majority of the stuff plus some creative stuff while having a small form factor and maintaining a great price point, the M2 Air is not for you. If I'm spending $11.99 on M2 Air, I'd rather buy the 16GB RAM version of the M1 Air because the 256GB SSD on the M1 model will already be 2 times faster than the M2 model, and I can have more RAM size, which is awesome if I wanted to open multiple apps or do more stuff at once on my MacBook. And even if you're not a creative person, you're not planning to upgrade your RAM or SSD storage, and you think you're fine with the base model, trust me, upgrading your RAM and SSD storage will future-proof your laptop. And if you're the type of person who only buys the base model stuff, you kind of want to use your PC for a longer period because, why would you buy a higher performance laptop, right? However, don't get me wrong, I do get the point why Apple has released this fresh, new design, good-looking hardware M2 Air is because us tech people don't really care about the way they look. I mean, we do care, but we don't appreciate as much as those people who buys Apple as a fashion statement, because a lot of people like us forgets that there's people out there buys Apple as a luxurious item, as a fashion statement, just like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Balenciagas, and whatever. It's the same thing for them because that's the reason why AirPods Max are selling. There's people out there buying those ridiculously expensive pair of headphones all over the world. There's a niche for these products. And I have to admit, I'm a sucker for a good design, and I'd rather flex M2 Air at my local Starbucks at 10 a.m. holding a grande almond milk latte rather than the M1 MacBook Air because the design of the M1 Air has been the same for a very long time, and I love the square-shaped retro futuristic looks of the M2 Air. But anyways, if you want a great performing, reliable laptop with a great price point, get the M1 Air. But if you want a better looking laptop with the bit performance increase and MagSafe, get the M2 Air. Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button, and I'll leave 2 of my favorite videos right here, my most recent video right here and my channel right here. I hope you guys have a great day. My name is Peace Gates. You guys already know. Peace out guys.